Welcome to the Burn Up Podcast, where we discuss all things Agile software development and delivery.
We will be giving you an honest take on tools and techniques. We'll share our experiences, debunk myth, and hopefully provide needed inspiration.
Hi, I'm Todd Anderson, Consultant Delivery Manager. I've done just about every job in IT, from tech support, programmer, network security, project and program management. I can't say I've done everything, but I've seen a lot.
And I'm Marcel Bridge, digital consultant, business analyst and product owner. I've worked in digital before this even had a name, and since have been quite a bit around the block. And this is my way of giving back to the industry.
So sit back, relax, and settle in for this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Burn Up. This is probably a good time to talk about why we're doing this. Todd, what do you think?
I think there's a real opportunity to give an honest take on software development, both the good and the bad. I also think we could bridge the gap between people who hire software development teams like ours and the teams themselves that make the software, because quite often there's a mismatch there. I think that's interesting to explore. I think we can also give practical advice on how to run projects, which I think could be useful to people new to running projects. But we could also have great conversation with people who are really experienced, who've been doing it quite a while.
I totally agree with what you just said. I think for me it's also about sharing ideas, specifically about debunking myth. There's quite a number of misconceptions in the industry, and we want to challenge some of those ideas. Which then brings me, I guess, to the next point. Who do you think this podcast is for? Who should be listening to this?
Well, I think that obviously Agile development teams and people who are practitioners of Agile would find this interesting. I also want to reach out to those sort of mid-level managers and C-level types, decision makers, and have them really understand a lot more about software development, because I think there's a gap there sometimes, and try to get some education, some dialogue going with them. How about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think while it is for, as I said, the practitioners, so the POs, the business analysts, the software engineers, the project managers, delivery leads, there is definitely a need to educate management who often make decisions on methodologies, on processes, on tools, so that they understand the impact of their decisions and make the right choices for their teams. This is kind of for everyone who's involved in building software, really.
So what do you think listeners can expect from this series of podcasts?
I think interesting stuff. We will discuss tools, techniques, ideas, concepts. We may discuss things that are very practical. We may be talking about ceremonies, about maybe some tools, but also we might be talking about totally different things. So for instance, psychology. We may be talking about sociology, which is very important when you run teams and want to improve team culture and ways of working. For me, it's really sharing experiences and thoughts on how to make software delivery better and more enjoyable.
Yeah. And I mean, it's called the Burn Up, but it's not always going to be just about Agile, right?
Well, I certainly hope not. I think this is generally about software delivery, and we may touch on Agile, we may touch on Lean, but we will also talk about Waterfall. I mean, you and I have a clear preference, I think, to Agile ways of working, but we're also realistic. And I think Agile is not always right, maybe. So this is just about anything that makes software delivery better. I don't know. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the process of talking about this is, like, we do have preferences. We have sort of maybe deep held beliefs for whatever reason.
Yes.
Brainwashing, who knows what it is. But I think we really should reserve the right to change our mind and to grow and to learn through this process. And, maybe do check some of those assumptions that we have in our mind and beliefs and see if they're really valid. So I think this set of podcasts will really, really help go through that.
I think this is a really good point you just made. You said earlier to me that you want to evolve maybe your thinking as part of this podcast as well. I think this is a sense check for us as well, whether maybe, as you said, we may have biases because we've worked with the same type of people, we've maybe never changed our ways of working, and maybe we're going down the wrong path or maybe the right path. And I think this is our opportunity to kind of critically reflect on whether what we are doing is actually right or not, or there is scope for improvement.
Yeah, so ultimately it's really about inspiring people, about getting the dialogue started. We really don't know where this is going to take us, right? Who knows?
Yeah, and I think it's also maybe important to say that while initially it's maybe just me and you, we will enlist colleagues and possibly clients to have discussions with us about projects, about their ideas, ways of working, to make this a bit of a wider discussion and maybe more interesting.
Yeah, sounds great. So what do you say we get the dialogue started?
Totally. Let's go.
That's it for today's episode. Have a look at our show notes with related information and details on how to get in touch at theburnup.com. We are listener driven, so please do send us your questions, comments, and ideas for new episodes.
We're both practitioners and are happy to discuss interesting opportunities from consulting to coaching to getting involved in actual projects. For inquiries, please visit burnupmedia.com. This podcast is produced by Burnup Media Limited under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 license, which means you can share it as long as you give credit, but you cannot change it or make money of it.
Until next time, thanks again for listening and have a wonderful day.